Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I'm going to be taking a look at the Game Master Quick Start Guide for Shadowdark, the role-playing game. So Shadowdark is a game that I have backed. All right, so it was a Kickstarter that I was originally made aware of from from Dungeon Craft. His video on it. I will be perfectly honest with you. I had not gone beyond him mentioning the black and white art and the fact that it was so textured that it looked like it was three-dimensional. And he immediately left his video and went to the Kickstarter to take a look at it. And as I was going through it, I just backed it. I mean, I was that impressed with the art and the tagline. To be quite honest, old school gaming modernized is something that appeals to my taste in OSR games. So I backed it with the understanding that I would go and look at other videos on it and try to glean as much information as I could about the game system thereafter. So now, as anyone knows with Kickstarters, if something comes out as I'm doing these walkthroughs and looking through the quick start guide, I mean, at some point I might determine that, oh, that's something that's a deal breaker for me, and then back out of it again. So I doubt that'll happen, but let's see where we stand as I go through this unscripted walkthrough of the Game Master's Quick Start Guide. Another point of note. I'm looking at the Game Master's Guide first rather than the player guide because I'm like one of those forever GMs, right? I'm always stuck doing that, or usually stuck doing that role. And so I wanted to see, well, what does this offer a game master that might be different than other game systems that I already have? The other thing I wanted to point out is that, this is an unpaid gig. All right. I am reviewing this on my own. I was not paid to do so. I was not asked to do so. And I have access to the same free materials that anybody else does. So let's jump right into it. So here we have it. Shadowdark, the role-playing game. It's 68 pages for this guide, and we jump right into random encounters. So rolling a d6, a 1 equals a random encounter. If you are in an area that is unsafe, you check every 3 rounds. If you're risky, every 2 rounds, and deadly every round. All right, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before, so that's pretty cool. Distance, so you roll for distance, close, near, and far. Close, near, and far distancing is something that I've also seen in Index Card RPG. So, and from what I understand, both Kelsey and Runehammer, they they have collaborated. Maybe not necessarily on this game system, but they've spoken before. I'm sure she's very familiar with his game system, and so possibly adopted distancing. Activity. So 2d6 activity. You're going to roll hunting, eating, building, nesting, socializing, playing, guarding, or sleeping. Reaction. 2d6 plus charisma mod. Well, I like that. That's pretty cool too. Um, so you add your charisma modifier to the attitude. Stats modifier. So you would roll, like, whatever you create, you roll a stat modifier. Interesting. I don't know what that they have. Oh, this is just a chart for you. It has nothing to do with the random encounters. This is just to give you like a quick start guide to the things that a GM is going to roll. All right. Like I said, this is unscripted and unchained. This is my first look at things, so I'm trying to just get an idea of what it's doing here. XP for treasure quality, so poor, bag of silver, use daggers, knucklebone dice, and legendary, the staff of Ord, the Jinns or genies, wish, and dragon horde. All right. NPC names and by ancestry, so it goes right into charts. Game Master quick start for Shadowdark RPG. Writing a design. Wow, that's so. This is first instead of this. That's and then the contents. That's strange. Perhaps if perhaps she didn't want it to. She wanted that to be three separate pages that you print out and keep on your side instead of embedding it inside the book. I don't know. That's weird. Weird layout. Not bad, but just a weird way to do it. I've never seen that done before. Maybe those are usually at the end of something. So, introduction, game mastery. I'm not going to dig too far into this. Your eyes. Only the core rules of Shadowdark RPG are found in the player quick start guide. You should refer to it for the main game rules alongside the players. All right. I'm going to take a look at that next. Let's just see what this has to offer the game master. I love the art. Just the detail is incredible. Running the game. Game Master is the world spinner, the all wise, the ventriloquist. You are the deadly pit trap, the assassin in the night. You are the storm, the army, the gods. All right. Yeah, you're all powerful. The ultimate power. Yeah. The Pact. Let's see what. The only rule. All right, let's see what the only rule is. The only rule is that you make the rules. What's written in this book is a guide, not a constraint, and none of it takes precedence over your judgment. If something doesn't work at your table, change it, throw it out, and don't look back. Okay, the Pact. You and your players are gaming together to have fun. I know some people are going to go crazy over that. To have fun, prop each other up, and strengthen bonds. This is a pact. The pact, or the pact. The pact is often unspoken and unseen, but it is always felt. It is based on goodwill, respect, and fellowship. Its enemies are selfishness, antagonism, and arrogance. Decisions made to defend the pact are always good ones. Right, I like that. Very clear and to the point, and really does get to the gist of what our hobby is all about, right? Sitting at a table with a group of individuals. Sometimes they're new acquaintances, other times they become, you know, lifelong friends. And you're playing for, oh, love this goodwill, respect, and fellowship, and to have fun. Setting DCs, the four standard DCs of the standard DCs of easy, normal, hard, and extreme are universal and help you quickly decide DC. All right, so easy is a 9, normal is a 12, hard is a 15, and extreme is an 18. When determining the difficulty of a task, take the creature into account. Finding a trail in a sunny field would be easy task for a forest elf with tracking skills, but it would be a hard task for a sun-dazed cave troll. All right, makes sense. Challenge variety. The characters should face a multitude of challenges during an adventure, including combat, dealing with NPCs, or overcoming the environment. Each class excels at different tasks. Thieves love to scout and to talk to NPCs. Fighters and clerics shine in combat, and wizards dominate the environment. Character skill versus player skill. Characters aren't the only ones who level up. Players also gain experience. All right. For example, players will learn where to look for secret doors and what the tells are. They also go on more adventures. They become better at gameplay. Encourage this by giving players the opportunity to make decisions that rely on their creativity and wits, not on their dice rolls or stat bonus. All right. So think beyond the character sheet. is something that I encourage my players to do, and I'm sure many of you do the same. Uh, Rules versus rulings. If there were a rule for every situation, we would be living inside the rule book instead of the game world. All right. As a GM, you have the infinite power with only a handful of rules. Stat checks and the standard DCs can resolve any action. You need nothing more. Rather than pour through the book, adjudicate using what you already know. Yeah, so rulings over rules, basically. Don't get bogged down into digging into the books, and really, it's a good practice not to allow digging into the books while you're playing. So the players shouldn't have anything, at the table but their character sheet, their dice, and their notepad and their pencil. And really the same for the GM. For the most part, you should be just rolling with it. And you could always refer to the rule books afterwards. Time, most important resource. Uh, it must haunt the character's every decision. They don't have time to search every floor tile for a trap. Interesting. Okay, darkness. Respect the darkness. It is the true foe. With few things can hold it at bay, and nothing makes those prized tools obsolete. All right, so, and I know I read this in the Kickstarter as well. Um, Torchlight economy is going to be very, very important in this game. Um, a torch burns for 1 hour of game time. So if you're playing a 4-hour game session, obviously whoever the torchbearer is needs to have at least 4 torches. And if you have a fairly large party that's stretched out along a long line of of characters, then you might need to have more than one torch burning at a time, and that's because elves and dwarves do not have dark vision. All right, so no, none of the races have dark vision, and so they're going to need torches. I'm wondering if that applies to like goblins and orcs and other things like that. If you're in their lair, I guess their lair has to be kind of well lit, or at least lit a reasonable amount as well. So that's something I haven't gotten into yet. So that's interesting. Gear is a precious and limited. Give value and utility to all of it. All right, so that's your recommendation. Gear slots work a little bit differently. It is 10 or based on your strength score. So if you had a 15 strength, you can carry 15 items. If you had an 8 strength, you can carry 10 items. All right, so 10 is the base. Cannot be below that, but it can be above that. Information, dispense information freely. If the characters test the floor where there's a trap, they find it. All right. Distance, close, near, far. I already talked to about that. Danger. Casting spells comes with great risk. Magic items are volatile. Fights are fast and unfair. Monsters are insidious. Good advice. Rewarding investment. Honor what has been earned. If a character learns a new language, make it matter. Allow new titles or iconic deeds to have an impact on the characters' lives. Checks. The characters automatically succeed at what they are trained to do. Only use checks when there is time pressure and failure has a dire consequences. All right. Awarding XP. So let's see how this works out. Characters gain XP from valuable treasures and boons they earn during the adventure. XP awards don't need to reflect monetary value. Boons or fabled items have intangible worth. All right. Treasure has 4 categories: poor, 0 XP; mundane, low value; ordinary or unexciting; normal, 1 XP; good value, worth protecting; useful. Fabulous, 3 XP, incredible prize, well guarded. And legendary, 10 XP, mythic, unique, quest worthy. Each PC gets the full XP of value for each treasure. When PCs gain a new level, their XP resets to 0. Yeah, so I know from looking at the Kickstarter, to go from first level to second level, you need 10 XP. To go from second to third, you need 20 XP, and so on and so forth. But it resets to 0 after you do each one. Or is it 20 to go from first to second? I think it's 10 times the level you're going to, or it could be 10 times the level that you're at to move up. I got to double check that. And maybe it'll say it here. Source of XP, gold and gems, oaths, secrets and blessings, magic items, meaningful trophies and tokens, clever thinking, award 1 XP for ingenious actions. How much gold? Over time, PCs will earn and lose gold adventuring, carousing, and buying gear. Per encounter, each group should gain about 10 gold X their average party level in value. So 20 gold in value, levels 1 through 3, 50 gold in value, levels 5 through 6, and 80 in value, levels 7 through 9. I'm assuming based on that, we go to level 10 as a maximum in here. XP for treasure quality, pours, a bag of silver, use daggers. All right, I think I already read this. This was already at the very beginning, yes. Random encounters, how often, unsafe. I read this as well. Makes me wonder about those first 3 pages, why that was put there. Distance, to have this already. We spoke about activity already. Reaction checks, got this already. Treasure, there's 50% chance a random encounter creature or group of creatures has no treasure. Traps add peril. A tell, most traps should have a hint or tell. Be careful not to make traps too frequent or the game pace will suffer. Finding, characters who search a specific area or object for a trap automatically find it. Disabling, thieves and characters who are trained in tinkering can describe how they disable or circumvent a trap. If the character has enough time and uses reasonable method, the character succeeds. If there is time pressure or the trap requires a great deal of skill to deactivate, the GM might call for a check. All right. Traps, they tell you the trap type, the trigger, and the effect. All right, that's pretty cool. Hazards. Movement restrictions. Some hazards inhibit or prevent movement, such as quicksand, pools of slippery pools or slippery ice. Hazards can even fully entrap characters. Damage, weakening, and combining. All right, so let's see. So movement, quicksand, damage, acid pools, weaken, blinding smoke. All right, so that's an example of rolling a 1 on a D12. Let's look at 6. Steep incline is a movement hazard. Steam vents is a damage hazard, and disorienting sound is that. So damage, some hazards deal ongoing damage, such as toxic spores or acid rain. Something happens. All right, a D100 chart. Something happens. And let's see. What's the most? Usually a 100. A radiant being appears to you with a message of warning. Okay, so that's a 100. What's a 1? A 1, the ground shakes violently and a massive fissure opens. All right. And the average of something happens will fall someplace in the mid 40s through 55 range. So someone nearby is staring at you and mouthing words. And at 55, let's just say, a huge swarm of bats crashes over you and swirls away. All right. Rumors. So there is a D100 rumor chart, and you could use these as adventure hooks. So these rumors here: ruins encounters. A silent gelatinous cube sweeps up a corridor. I'm starting to think that you might be able to use these things for solo play. If there's enough charts and everything in here, that would certainly work out pretty well. So now we're going to get into monster attributes. So they're going to have your typical armor class, hit points, attacks, movement, stat modifiers, alignment, spellcasting, dark adapted. Let's see, all non-human monsters are dark adapted. So there goes my answer. Their powerful senses allow them to ignore the penalties of total darkness, blinding or deafening. A monster still hinders it. Okay. Oh, blinding or deafening, a monster still hinders it. Okay. So cool. All right. So they do have an advantage in the dungeon space. So that kind of explains that. And aboleth. Let's see if they're as powerful as they are in D&D. Curse or target gains magical curse, turning into a deep one over 2d10 days. Okay, a little bit different than enslave. In place of attacks, one creature within far DC 15 Wisdom. Aboleth controls for 1 to 4 rounds, and telepath reads the thoughts of the creatures within far. All right. So they do have some psychic kind of ability and enslavement ability and cursing. So let's see. Let's get to something that's really common. Let's see if they have. All right, so a swamp dragon. Well, let's see what a dragon's like. Smog breath fills a near-sized cube extending from dragon. 15 DC for con or 2d10 damage and blinding for 1 round. All right, so that's its breath weapon. It has 3 attacks, rend plus 8, 2d10, or 1 smog breath. Goblins, let's see. A short, hairless humanoid with green skin and pointy ears. Their alignments is chaotic, so all right, so we're probably using a very basic D&D alignment system of lawful, chaotic, and neutral. Keen senses, they cannot be surprised. All right, that's cool. AC 11. So this is ascending armor class, obviously. HP 5, attack 1, club plus 0, D4. Or short bow, far, plus 1, D4. Movement is near. They are small. The strength is plus 0. Sorry, dexterity is plus 1. Constitution is plus 1. Intelligence -1. Wisdom -1. Charisma -2. All right, so we have a goblin there, a gnome, a deep gnome. Let's see. Stone melt 2 times a day, underground only, turns invisible for 3 rounds. All right, let's look at orcs. Let's find an orc, an ogre, an orc. Here we go. Tusked, tall humanoid with gray skin and pointed ears. AC 15, chainmail plus shield. HP 4, attack 1, great axe plus 2. So a D8 damage on that. Its movement is near. Its strength is plus 2, dex plus 0, con plus 0, intelligence -1, wisdom -1, charisma -1. Its alignment is chaotic. It is a level 1 creature. Rage once per day, immune to morale checks, and plus D4 damage for 3 rounds. Pretty cool. All right, so let's get out of the monster section. Another piece of art. treasure, fleeting. Oh, let's say fleeting, carousing. Shadowdark RPG Core allows PCs to gain XP fast, but they'll soon need to go adventuring again to replenish their empty pockets. Yeah, the carousing system, I believe, is meant to or designed to kind of eat up your treasure, and kind of force you to go back out and adventure again. So treasure types for treasure 0 to 3, a D100 table. So this is fairly mundane stuff. Magic attributes, magic item, idea generator. Okay. Name 1, name 2, name 3. So you could say, let's do 3, 5, and 7. So 3 would be Ordeval's Hammer of the Covenant. Okay. Consumables. A creature must drink an entire potion or use an entire consumable item to gain its effects. Specific magic items already. Boots of the Cat. It's probably similar to Boots of Elvenkind. Stand still. You must move silently or always. Your silently checks are always at a DC of 9. All right, so it just makes him much easier to make. Okay. Love the art. The Lost Citadel of the Scarlet Minotaur. All right. Wow, that M was hard to make out. So this is an adventure. I'm not going to go through the adventure other than just to look at the format. And 1 through 27. So they tell you the risk level or danger level, the light, the doors, the NPCs, the Scarlet Minotaur. Each time you roll on a random encounter table, after the first, apply a cumulative -2 to the result. Treat results of -1 as 1, below 1 as 1. Reset the count. So the Scarlet Minotaur, I guess, is the big boss. So for each time you roll on the random encounter table, after the first, apply a cumulative -2. So eventually, you're going to, and fairly quickly actually, you're going to encounter the Scarlet Minotaur. Mural Chamber, Blind Cave, Web Cave, Ettercap's Nest. All right, so it basically just room and what is in there. I'm assuming the map will be at the end. Let's see. NPCs, no map. I guess you just... Yeah, there wasn't a map. Not yet, at least. NPCs. Beastman NPCs. Ettercap NPCs. Join the Dark. Oh, here's a map. Okay. The Lost Citadel. There's a map. There we go. Adventure site name. So I do 357, the Tower of Lost Twilight. And that's it. So there you have it. I'm the Game Master's quick start guide, fairly simple rules, pretty common sense stuff, and there's some innovative things there. I like the overall tone of it, where it seems to be a very fast paced game system, and I will of course get more when I take a look at the player guide, as well as far as the actual game mechanics and gameplay. But it does look like a fairly rules light, simple game system, but with some modernization to it, and some unique aspects to it, some systems that I haven't either seen before or they're fairly recent, um, such as like the distance. And I really like the fact that there are a number of random generation tables inside the Game Master's Quick Start Guide. I can only imagine that it's going to be even more so in the full versions. But again, I'm don't really know that right now. I'm fairly certain it will be, because this book is only like 60 something pages long, and the player's guide is also roughly about the same size. So I'm going to wrap this up here. So I will do the second video in this series of breaking down the quick start rules sometime over the weekend, probably Sunday. So it'll be about 2 days before I get around to that. And you know, I just wanted to also say that this is the timing of this game, and the announcement of this game has been really, an opportune time for the creator, Arcane Library, Kelsey Dion, I believe, and the character is doing really well, and I think that has a lot to do with the timing of it. It has to do with what's been going on with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, and the OGL nonsense that they try to pull. And so I think a lot has to do, how well this Kickstarter is doing has to do with the timing of it, number one. Number two, like I said, I want to give it the credit that it is due on its own as a standalone. The art is phenomenal. The gameplay appears to be very streamlined, makes a lot of sense, is focused on pacing and and challenge. So there is some danger in this. There's some grittiness to this. I mean, it is called Shadowdark, probably for a reason, and I think it does capture that real old school game, old school feel, with some modernizing mechanics, which is, I think very appealing to people like myself. I mean, I just love that. And you know, I haven't seen anything now in the Kickstarter, in the Quick Start Game Master um, guide that has turned me off from it. So I'm going to continue maintaining my Quick Start or Kickstarter pledge, unless I see something that dissuades me from continuing to do so. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, Take a look at it. I mean, it is free on drive-through. You can look at the quick start guides and get them both on drive-through for free, and make your own judgment as to whether or not this is a game that you're going to enjoy picking up, and and then back it if you wish to. If it's too much the same as any other OSR product that you might have, then you can make that decision on your own as well. So without further ado, let's wrap this one up. Thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. Remember to subscribe and hit the alerts, because the next one in this series will come probably on Sunday, and you'll be alerted when that goes up live as well. So have a great day. Take care.